Well, the man who first played Superman has been dead now for 32 years. His death was ruled a suicide. But will the case be reopened? We'll have details after a break.
Now, it was 1959 when actor George Reeves, who played Superman, was shot down and killed in his Beverly Hills home. Cops called it suicide, and just about all of us accepted that judgment. But now a group of several dozen friends of George Reeves and fans of Superman are challenging that assessment. They say Reeves did not kill himself, that he was gunned down in cold blood because of some extracurricular romance.
Faster than a speeding bullet.
I feel that George didn't commit suicide, that he was in fact murdered.
More powerful than a locomotive.
George Reeves was found naked in his upstairs bedroom.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird.
It's a plane.
The police investigation was very shallow.
And who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper?
You're saying it was murder?
That's correct.
Everybody knows that Superman blew his own brains out 32 years ago, right? Not so fast. A large group of George Reeves fans, including his two former co-stars, are now convinced that he was murdered. These people are working overtime to prove it. They say they have solid circumstantial evidence that Reeves was killed because he broke off a love affair with a wealthy married woman.
That's correct. The Beverly Hills police, quite honestly, handled the case very poorly.
He broke off the relationship. Shortly afterwards, he was receiving threatening phone calls. He had bought a couple of additional guns and a baseball bat that he carried in his car. He changed all the locks on his house. He was in fear of his life, and he let a few people know about it.
George Reeves' final moments were spent in the bedroom of his home on Benedict Canyon Drive. His friends believe that a hitman entered the room and fired 3 or 4 shots.
Well, I think if you're going to commit suicide, you don't put the gun to your head, shoot a couple on the ceiling, maybe one on the floor, and then into your head. It just doesn't hold water.
For George to have killed himself, he would have had to been standing on his head with his arm stretched out 7 feet away.
George Reeves was found naked in his upstairs bedroom. The shower at the time the police arrived was running. Fresh clothes were laid out, as if he was going to go out and party, which he was known to do.
Mr. Kent, you're the friend of Superman, aren't you?
Well, we do keep in pretty close contact, yes.
We've always gone under the hopes that we will clear this man's name of suicide.
And so, boys and girls, be super citizens and have a super future. And keep on making me and everyone else as proud of you as we are today.
Because with the death of George Reeves, a lot of children thought that Superman had died.
Bye now.
And a lot of their dreams and hopes died with him.
Most observers, including private eyes who have investigated the death of George Reeves, believe that he was murdered and that he certainly was not a suicide. Now, tomorrow night on Eyewitness News at 10 o'clock, I'll introduce you to a man who owns the world's largest collection of Superman memorabilia. Joel and Linda, it's worth more than $2 million.
Well, what do you think?
About
George?
Oh, I think he was offed by a hitman. I do. I think he was bumped off.
Let's get to the bottom of this.
We will.
After a break, Jerry Taft will look ahead with his extended weather outlook.
And still ahead on Eyewitness News, Gary.